I'm Shivani from our Bangalore publication. You said you will not survive, and here you are.
I didn't say I will not survive. People thought I won't survive.
Okay. So how is the yogic spine?
Doing very well, you can see.
We have been, I've gone through the press release. I wanted to know, we have spoken about farmers level, etc. I wanted to know, and since you have signed MOUs with head of states, various, will Karnataka is going to polls next year. Will this become a manifesto for the government, you think?
I hope it does. My work is not politically inclined, so I don't know what they will do with that. But I don't see how you can go to election ignoring nearly 55 to 60% of the population, which is the farmers in the country. I think they should become part of the agenda, always. We have written to 730 political parties across the world to ensure that soil becomes a part of their manifestos. We will insist on that, even on the local parties, irrespective of which party it is. Whatever our political ideologies may be, whatever may be religious, caste, inclinations may be, but we all come from the same soil. We are eating off the same soil. When we die, we go back to the same soil. So soil should become a common agenda for everyone. It's not of any particular political ideology. So the government which signs MOU, well, if they have any political acumen, they must use soil as an important part, because 55% of the state's population depends on the richness of the soil, their life depends on that.
At a ward level, at a local level, what can be done?
See, first, an incentive-based policy has to be drawn out. We are, we made… this is over 500 pages so this is for India. We made similar 193 documents, unique to each nation, depending upon the latitudinal position, soil type, economic conditions of the given nation and their agricultural practices. Because even if you… why agricultural practices is, even if you have all the science with you, still you cannot change agricultural practices overnight. So taking these four aspects into consideration, we made 193 unique documents for 193 nations in the world. We have already presented that at COP15 and it's reached all the nations. Plus soft copies have gone to most people who are in the agriculture ministries and other things. So as a policy, now we are quite confident that it is definitely going to happen. In each country and in each state, it may take different formats, different kinds of financial, jigging and rejigging, depending on various aspects, economic and political aspects of the given place. But is the world going to move towards soil regeneration? I'm 100% sure now, because 74 nations have already given a declaration. Others have given a very positive indication that they are studying it in a very positive light. Plus, yesterday I received a social media metric from an agency which has been, doing this, and now they're telling us we have reached or we have found response from 3.2 billion people on a conservative estimate. It is much more actually if you take WhatsApp and other things into consideration. So with nearly 60% of the world's population speaking up and government 74 nations signing up already, I'm quite sure that it will go in this direction. Now the important thing, responsibility for ourselves and all of you is that we should determine the pace, the speed at which it'll happen. If you do it over 50 years, it'll become no use. Maximum of 6 to 8 years, 3% organic content can be easily achieved. All governments should aim for that, that's how the policy should be framed. Please take the microphone.
ಮಣ್ಣು ಉಳಿಯುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ತಮ್ಮ ಅಭಿಪ್ರಾಯ?
ಮಣ್ಣು ಉಳಿಯುತ್ತೆ, ಬಟ್ ನಾವು ಉಳಿಯಲ್ಲ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಈಗೆಲ್ಲ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಊಟ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಫರ್ಟಿಲೈಸರು, ಇನ್ಸೆಕ್ಟಿಸೈಡ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದನೇ ನಮಗೆ ಊಟ ಸಿಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಈಗ ಇವತ್ತು ನಾವು ಫರ್ಟಿಲೈಸರು, ಇನ್ಸೆಕ್ಟಿಸೈಡ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬಿಟ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಕೆಮಿಕಲ್ ಫರ್ಟಿಲೈಸರ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬಿಟ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಪಂಚದಲ್ಲಿ ಫುಡ್ ಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನು 25% ಆಗಿಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ಆಯಿತು, ಮುಗೀತೋಗ. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ಇದು ಈ ಥರ ತೆಗೆದುಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸರಿ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತಿಲ್ಲ. ನಾವು ಯಾಕೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಿದ್ವಿ, ವೈ ವಿ ವೆಂಟ್ ಟು ದಿಸ್ ಫರ್ಟಿಲೈಸರ್ಸ್ ಅಟ್ ದ ಸ್ಕೇಲ್ ಅಟ್ ವಿಚ್ ವಿ ವೆಂಟ್, ವಿ ಮಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್. Because every 3 to 4 years, India and almost all over the world, there used to be famines. Famine is a most terrible and debilitating thing that can happen to a human being because it's a slow death, 3 to 4 months. Slowly people will die, terrible things will happen to human beings. In 1942, the famine in India took 3.2 million people in 4 months' time. So, with this fear of famine, we went into what we call as Green Revolution. It was an emergency measure to bridge ourselves over the famine situations. But as we started solving that food scarcity problem, we should have also looked at soil regeneration. We got onto the bridge, but we forgot to get down from the bridge. Any bridge that we get onto, at some point we must get back to the ground. If we don't get back to the ground, we are on a bridge to nowhere. So that is the direction we took. I'm not trying to find fault with policies that were made before. They were made in emergency situations. Now we're in a much more comfortable situation. Now we have to think of long-term, sustainable way of doing the farming. Naan reach ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ. ಅದು I know it will make a headline for you, but I want you to understand, without an incentive on hand. What's an incentive in Kannada? Okay, that's good, you also don't know. Without an incentive in hand, I will not go to the farmer. There must be a serious, significant incentive, because farm economy is so fragile. If you as much as touch it, it'll collapse. We must understand, in the last 25 years, across the world, not just in India, across the world, nearly 500,000 farmers have committed suicide. Is this not a good enough message for anybody who has their humanity alive within them? 500,000 farmers committing suicide across the world, not only in this country, all over. In United States, 50% of the farmers have not seen $1 of profit for the last 12 years. There have been incidents of whole families shooting themselves. This is not only in United States or in India, it is in Europe, everywhere you see. The highest suicide rate is among the farmers given to any other profession. Farming has the highest level of suicide rate. One reason is, it is not only backbreaking, it is become heartbreaking, because to grow food out of degenerated soil is not easy. The input cost is going up and going up and going up. It's simply not practical to do it anymore.
ನಮಸ್ತೆ ಸದ್ಗುರು. ಸೊ ಭಾರತದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಣ್ಣು ಸವಕಳಿ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ಅರಣ್ಯ ನಾಶ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ನದಿ ಪಾತ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರೀಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು. ಸೊ ಈ ಹಿಂದೆ ಕೂಡ ನೀವು ಕಾವೇರಿ ಕಾಲಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಿ, ಸೊ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕಾವೇರಿ ನದಿ ಉಳಿಸ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ. ಈ ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಗೂ ಮತ್ತು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹಿಂದಿನ ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಗೂ ಏನಾದರೂ ಲಿಂಕ್ ಇರುತ್ತಾ? ಸೊ ಮರಗಳನ್ನ ಉಳಿಸ್ಬೇಕು ಮತ್ತು ನದಿ ಉಳಿಸೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಮಣ್ಣನ್ನು ಉಳಿಸುವಂಥ ಲಿಂಕ್ ಏನಾದರೂ ಇರುತ್ತಾ ಅಂತ
ಹೇಳಿ. ನಾನು 30 ವರ್ಷದಿಂದ ಈ ಮಣ್ಣಿನ ಬಗ್ಗೆನೇ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಈ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ನನಗೆ ಭಾಳ ಸಾರಿ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡ್ತವೆ ಆಗಲೇ. ಏನಂದರೆ, ನೀವು 30 ವರ್ಷದ ಇಷ್ಟು ವರ್ಷ ನೀವು ಮರ ಇಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಿ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ನದಿ ಕಾಪಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಿ, ಈಗ ಮಣ್ಣು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಏನು ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ ಇದ್ದಿರಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ. ಮರ ಇಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ ಏನೋ ತಲೆ ಮೇಲೆ ಇಟ್ಕೋಬೇಕಾ, ಮಣ್ಣಲ್ಲಿ ಇಡಬೇಕಾ? ಮಣ್ಣಲ್ಲಿ ತಾನೇ ಇಡ್ಬೋದು ಮರ. ಮರ ಇಟ್ಟರು, ಗಿಡ ಇಟ್ಟರು, ಮಣ್ಣಲ್ಲಿ ತಾನೇ ಇಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ. ನಮ್ಮ ನದಿಗಳು ಓಡುತ್ತೆ, ಇದು ಟ್ರಾಪಿಕಲ್ ರೀಜನ್ ಇದು. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನದಿ ಓಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ ಮಣ್ಣು ಫಲವತ್ತಾಗಿದ್ರೇ ನದಿ ಓಡುತ್ತೆ. ಈ ತಮಿಳ್ನಾಡಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಥರ ಒಂದು ವಾಟ್ ಯು ಸೇ ಅ ಸೇಯಿಂಗ್, ನೋ
ಮಾದರಿ ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟ್,
ನೋ ಸೇಯಿಂಗ್,
ಗಾದೆ.
ಓಕೆ, ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್, ಇಟ್ಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ರಿಯಲಿ ಎ ಗಾದೆ, ಬಟ್ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದಟ್. ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂದರೆ, ಕಾವೇರಿ ನಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬಂದರೆ ಬಹಳ ಸಂಪತ್ತಂತೆ, ಅವಳು ಓಡಿ ಬಂದರೆ ಮುಗೀತು ನಮ್ಮ ಕತೆ ಅಂತ. ಯಾಕೆ ನಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬರ್ತಾಳೆ, ಇಲ್ದರೆ ಓಡಿ ಬರ್ತಾಳೆ ಹೇಳಿ? ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ವೆಜಿಟೇಷನ್ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಬಂದ ಮಳೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಮೆದುವಾಗಿ ಒಂದೊಂದು ಹನಿಯಾಗಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ನಮಗೆಲ್ಲ ಈ ಮನಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಈ ಥರ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಟ್ಬಿಟ್ರು, ಏನಂದರೆ ನದಿ ಎಲ್ಲೋ ಬೆಟ್ಟದಲ್ಲಿ ಬುಷ್ ಅಂತ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಆ ಥರ ಬರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಹೋಗಿ ನೋಡಿ, ಒಂದೊಂದು ಹನಿಯಾಗಿ ಸೇರಿ ಚಿಕ್ಕ ಚಿಕ್ಕ ಹೊಳೆಗಳಾಗಿ ಆಮೇಲೆ ನದಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಈ ಹನಿ ಗೂಡಿ ಬರಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ ಮಣ್ಣು ಫಲವತ್ತಾಗಿರಬೇಕು, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಮರಗಳು ಚಳಿಗಳು ಗಿಡಗಳು ಇರಬೇಕು, ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಆದರೆ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಅದರಿಂದ ಮರಗಳು ಹೇಳಿದ್ವಿ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ನದಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ವಿ. ನದಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದು ಏನಾಯಿತು ಅಂತ ನಾನು ನಿನ್ನೆ ಐ ವಾಸ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಸರ್ಪ್ರೈಸ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ಆಂಧ್ರ ಪ್ರದೇಶ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ತೆಲಂಗಾಣ. ದೇ ಡಿಡ್ ನಾಟ್ ನೋ ಎನಿಥಿಂಗ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ವಾಟ್ಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ಡ್ ವಿತ್ ರ್ಯಾಲಿ ಫಾರ್ ರಿವರ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ಕಾವೇರಿ ಕಾಲಿಂಗ್. ಐ ಹೋಪ್ ಇನ್ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ at least we know. No? Should I say something about it? Because you're asking the connection.
Yes, sir.
So the Rally for Rivers, we wrote a river policy as to how a tropical river should be managed. This is very important because almost every engineering project that we have done in this country around rivers are largely imitation of European and American models. In Europe and America, they are temperate rivers. That means most of the water for them is coming from melting ice. For us, only 4% of India's river waters come from melting ice. Rest is all just monsoon. Monsoon has not decreased. In the last 100 years, we have a steady monsoon with slight variations up and down. Last year, we had some 27% more excess monsoon. So monsoon, the volume of water that is coming down has been the same. One thing that's happened is the number of days have shrunk. Monsoon used to happen anywhere between 90 to 115 to 120 days. Today it is happening between 70 to 90, 95 days. This means the same volume of water is coming, but coming in a more focused way. So you see either there is drought or there is flood. Because you're not able to manage the water, it's coming too soon. Why is it coming in shorter number of days or lesser number of days is simply because of lack of vegetation. When the clouds start shedding, they cannot hold themselves. Everything comes down once the temperature variations happen. So one important thing is there has to be substantial vegetation across the land. Right now, the only reason, I'm telling you, the only reason Karnataka still looks green, Tamil Nadu still looks green and soil is reasonably okay, is because of Western Ghats. If Western Ghats, all the trees were removed, this is the end of it. This is the end of this peninsula, I'm telling you, because the rains would just bypass you. Because it's a thin peninsula, rains need not shower upon this land, they will just go away into the ocean. Right now, they're shedding rain on this land mainly because of the vegetation belt in the Western Ghat. If that was not there, if those mountains were not there, I don't think we would have had the sense to keep the forests, and that would have been a great disaster. Fortunately, those Western Ghats are there. Karnataka has a major portion of the Western Ghats. It's extremely important, we must keep it that way. So now, the Rally for Rivers policy, as you know, in 29 days, we gathered the support of 162 million people, and with that support, we went to Niti Aayog, we gave this to the Prime Minister and Environment Ministry, Agriculture Ministers and everything. Within 3.5 months, it became the national policy. It is the recommended policy even now for all the 28 states. Only 6 states got into activity reasonably. Others were just waiting for something. But during the corona time, because of the virus came and the pandemic came, even those 6 states gave it up, except Karnataka, I must say this, because of the Kaveri calling movement, Karnataka, we kept the activity up even during the pandemic. Totally 67 million trees have been planted. Looking at the success of that, because ISRO records the trees with geocoding, every tree is accounted for, and there is a 125 rupees subsidy, which is unique to Karnataka, and we got so many species released that earlier if you grow a tree, you couldn't cut it and use it. Today, most trees are free, still 3-4 species are kept away. This should not happen. My intention is, a farmer should be able to grow what he wants. What he grows on his land always belongs to him. Whether it's sandalwood or red cedar, whatever it is. If a farmer grows it on his land, it should belong to him. Government has no business to take it. These are all old laws from the British times, that even below 3 meters of land, what is below 3 meters doesn't belong to the owner if you do not know this, that's a law. That means your well, water in the well doesn't belong to you. These are all the laws made by the occupiers. We're still keeping it. I'm saying, in my land, even if I get gold or diamond, it must belong to the farmer, whoever owns the land. You can tax, you can put a tax on it, but you can't take it unless it's a civilizational matter. That is, you hit some Harappa, Mohenjo-daro in your land, then it's a different matter, then the government will take it. But everything else, whatever it is, see right now I've been traveling through farmlands in United States, in Utah, in South Dakota, all these places, most farmers have one oil mill. If you have 100 acres, one oil mill will be there. I went and spoke to them what this oil mill earns for them. One simple machine just going on like this all the time. It earns them somewhere between $10,000 to $20,000 per month. They're saying oil is for the family, farming we are doing, hoping to make some money, but it's not happened. So these oil mills are keeping everybody alive, because if a farmer strikes oil, the oil belongs to the farmer in that country. But here if you strike oil, government will come and take not only the oil, also your land. This must go. What is in the farmer's land, whatever grows, whatever is found must belong to the farmer. So one aspect of that is Rally for Rivers has this aspect. Based on that Kaveri calling, looking at the success of Kaveri calling, 9 UN agencies joined us because looking at the success, the way it is documented and the way things are happening on the ground, looking at the success of this, Government of India made detailed project reports for 13 river basins. Kaveri Basin accounts for 83,000 square kilometers, 5.2 million farmers live and work here. This is what we are working with, it's a large space to work for an individual organization, but now Government of India made 13 detailed project reports for 13 river basins. That report happened almost 3 years ago, we've been pushing for it. Now when I was riding through Eastern Europe, we got the news that Government of India has allocated 19,000 crores for these 13 river basin projects. This is the forward movement, but it took me 11 years. 11 years, I don't have 11 fingers, I'm sorry. It took 11 years to get this to this place. Unfortunately, this is how government policies work. This is why it's important, we must keep the Save Soil message up. Till it is done, we must keep it up. It's not one day's affair. I'm sorry?
That already mining is started in Ballari, what would you say to the government?
See, there are many issues, all right. We want mining to stop, but we want to make cars, we want to make motorcycles, we want to build houses, we want all the conveniences. See, we are sitting here, see how much metal is here? How do you build a nation without mining? The thing is, are we following all the laws? Are we doing it properly? Are they paying taxes? This is the issue. Otherwise, today, as India's economy increases, the amount of metal, cement, everything that we consume is going to go up in a phenomenal way. Because everybody needs a house, 1.3 billion people you have. Nearly 40% of them don't even have a house, they're just living in shacks. If you want to build homes for all of them, decent homes for all of them, it will take a lot of mining. So am I for mining, against mining? If we are against mining, we must be willing to live like, our ancestors were living in a small hut. If you are willing to live like that, no mining, we can cancel all mining. We want all the comforts and conveniences, but we don't want mining. As you know, I just now came from, Devanhalli, this side. Right from my childhood, I've been traveling that road. And now I see so many hills that existed at that time are gone. Where is it gone? It's all here, these are the hills, standing up in Bengaluru city. All the hills have been just flattened out and you have built a whole city out of it. You have roads, you have buildings, you have where did this come from? Those hills have been removed. It would have been beautiful if we had those whole hills, but can we do it? Can we afford it? Are we willing to do it? So we must look at this in a more comprehensive way. This is why I am saying that we must separate soil issue from other ecological concerns. Because if you take these kind of concerns into account, we will run into different lobbies, different businesses. If you take this up, if you say fossil fuel emission, then you will run into coal industry, coal mining. If you say something else, oil industry, automobile industry, fertilizer industry, pesticide industry, you will get into collision course with all of them. They did not happen overnight. These industries and businesses were built over decades. You can't close them down tomorrow morning either. That's a very wrong way of handling. This is going to affect India in a big way. This kind of court order somebody gets and just close down the mine, just like that. No, you must penalize the mine if they're not following the rules. Closing down the mine is a hit for the nation, isn't it? Then all you will do is you will buy it at a much more higher price from some other country. Will you stop the development? No. You will buy it at a higher price, that's all that'll happen. There are a whole lot of people who are starting a movement. Rice cultivation in India must be stopped because it's leaching the soil. If you stop rice cultivation, what will you do? You'll pay 4 times the price and buy it from another country. That's all that'll happen. So let's think more judiciously. Soil must be separated from all other ecological concerns because enrichment of soil, enhancing the organic content in the soil, nobody is against it. Oil industry is not against it, coal industry is not against it, mining is not against it, automobiles are not against it, nobody is against it. So you must separate it and fix it because soil is of existential significance, others are environmental significance. This is of existential significance because every responsible scientist in the world is clearly pointing out we have agricultural soils only for another 50 to 60 years. ಈ 100 ದಿವಸ ಈ ಒಂದು ಜರ್ನಿ ಥರ ನಡೀತಾ ಇದೆ. ಇದು ಮುಗಿದ್ಮೇಲೆ ನಾನು immediately within 4 days I'm traveling to United States because I have meetings both in UK and United States with the agriculture and environment secretaries there. So we are seeing how to take it ahead with that. Then I'm in meeting Caribbean nations where all the CARICOM nations have already signed up, 11 of them, plus the South American nations like Guyana, Suriname, all these places they have signed up. So we are going there to see. We will be setting up a scientific committee of nearly 25 scientists who will handhold these small nations. Large nations, they have their own facilities, they have their own scientific, establishments, but the smaller nations don't have this. So smaller nations account for… the nations that I call as smaller nations account for 131 to 132 nations. So these nations we are seeing how to handhold and make it happen. They may also need economic hand-holding. So we are talking to UN agencies, we are talking to world funding bodies and other things to facilitate this. We want to set up very strong examples in different regions, South America, Caribbean area, Africa, and of course a few Indian states. We want to do this, so this is when the hard work begins. This is a long haul, this is not one day's work.
Sadhguru, this is Narayankar from UNI. You and Prime Minister jointly addressed the event on Save Soil. We all know what you and the Prime Minister have spoken publicly. But I would like to know the interaction you had with the Prime Minister personally on Save Soil movement.
See, as you know, when he was the Chief Minister of Gujarat, he started this thing called as Soil Health Card. Today, they have issued 22 crore soil health cards in the country. But I've been trying to impress upon them and I think now it has gone across that soil health card is not just about agriculture. Soil health card is about the life of the soil. It's important we treat soil as a living entity because it's the largest living entity not only on this planet, in the known universe, it is the largest living entity. These zillions of lives that are there in the soil, they are the source life for all of us. Even today in your body, 60% of your body is actually these organisms, only 40% is genetic material from your parentage. So what is happening in this body, what is happening in the soil are not very different. Well, most people may not realize this when they're alive, but when you bury them, they all get it, that it's the same thing, because what's happening here happens there, what's happening there happens here. So, who we are right now is a consequence of the life that's happening in the soil. So to bring this aspect that it is a living soil and to separate soil from other environmental issues has been sufficiently impressed upon him. But central government can only give recommendations because central government doesn't have any geography of its own, it's a state governments. So Gujarat, Rajasthan, UP, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh and now Karnataka, all of them will sign up MOUs. We will work with them because they are in charge of the agriculture. At the most, center may make recommendations. Maybe states will ask for some funding from the center for the incentives, which is something that needs to happen, because the states are ruled by different parties, different types of governments, there are many issues there. But I see the two states I just passed right now, three rather, Maharashtra, Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, which are all ruled by different parties, all of them are totally committed to this. How rapidly they do it, we should see. Andhra Pradesh has taken really big steps in this direction already and they are very committed to this. Telangana is thinking of a whole lot of greening, but they've not thought of agriculture like this, so we're pushing for that. And Maharashtra is very proactive, they want to do this. We've already set up teams to work with the Maharashtra government. UP, of course, is very positive. Now they're trying to create what is called as a agricultural corridor along the Ganga basin, which they want to make it like natural kind of farming as far as possible. But definitely soil is in the focus there.
Can I ask a question apart from safe soil, if you would like to
Please
take
say.
it? Just a simple question, what is your view on this Agniveer, this protest going on? If you would like to, I'm not insisting on this.
I've not really looked at the policy per se, but whatever may be the policy, whether people agree with it or disagree with it, the violence that you're seeing out there is simply unacceptable. Burning our own country is not an option, no matter what. It doesn't matter how much disagreement I have in my mind and my heart, I cannot go about burning my own country. This has to get across. I think every responsible leader should put this across properly. Doesn't matter what is the disagreement, you cannot burn your own nation, what is the point of this? It's looking like a war zone. So, we've been counting the kilometers and events. When we come here, it's 27,278 kilometers right now, and I'm still standing. And this is since March 21st. This event is 593rd event. So I've been trying to kill myself, it's not worked. ಇನ್ನು ಕರ್ನಾಟಕಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಫುಲ್ಲಾಗಿ ಬಂದಿಲ್ಲ, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ಅದರಿಂದ ಕನ್ನಡ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪನೇ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಈಗ ಈ 100 ದಿನದ ಮಣ್ಣು ಉಳಿಸುವ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ, ಈ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಯಾಣ ಲಂಡನ್ನಿಂದ ಆರಂಭಿಸಿ ಕಾವೇರಿವರೆಗೂ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಈಗ ಇದುವರೆಗೂ ನಾವು 27,278 ಕಿಲೋಮೀಟರ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. 593 ಈವೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಇದುವರೆಗೂ ಈ 93-94 ದಿವಸದಲ್ಲಿ. ಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿ 74 ದೇಶಗಳು ಈ ಸೇಫ್ ಸಾಯಿಲ್ ಪಾಲಿಸಿ ಡಾಕ್ಯುಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಒಂದೊಂದು ದೇಶಕ್ಕೆ ಸಪ್ರೇಟಾಗಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಆ ಒಂದು ದೇಶದ ಲ್ಯಾಟಿಟ್ಯೂಡ್, ಆ ದೇಶದ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ಸ್, ಸಾಯಿಲ್ ಟೈಪ್ಸ್ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ನೋಡಿ ಡಾಕ್ಯುಮೆಂಟ್ಸು 193 ಡಾಕ್ಯುಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಈ ಥರ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಎಲ್ಲ ದೇಶಕ್ಕೂ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದೆ. ಅವರೆಲ್ಲ ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಆಗಿ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. 74 ದೇಶ ಆಗಲೇ ಇದು ನಾವು ಕಡ್ಡಾಯವಾಗಿ ಇದು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತ ನಮಗೆ ಒಂದು ಡಿಕ್ಲರೇಷನ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, MOU ಸೈನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ಈಗ ನಾವು ಬಂದಿರೋ 7-8 ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಕೂಡ ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾರತದಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಈಗ MOU ಸೈನ್ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಕಡ್ಡಾಯವಾಗಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಇದು ಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಏನಂದರೆ ಮಣ್ಣು ಅನ್ನೋದು ಒಂದು ಜೀವಂತವಾದ ಒಂದು ವಿಷಯ. ಇದು ನಾವು ಒಂದು ಪದಾರ್ಥದ ಥರ ನೋಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಇದು ನಾವು ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸಿ ಬಿಸಾಕುವಂಥ ವಿಷಯ ಅಲ್ಲ. ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಹ ಅಂತ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, ಮಣ್ಣು ಅಂತ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, ಇದು ವ್ಯತ್ಯಾಸವಾದ ವಿಷಯ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಒಂದೇ ವಿಷಯ. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ಈ ಮಣ್ಣು ಅನ್ನೋದು ಪರಿಸರಕ್ಕೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟ ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ವಿಷಯಗಳಿದೆ. ಆ ವಿಷಯಗಳಿಗೂ ಮಣ್ಣಿಗೂ ಒಂದು ವ್ಯತ್ಯಾಸ ತಗೊಂಬರಬೇಕು ನಾವು. ಆವಾಗಲೇ ಈ ಮಣ್ಣು ನಾವು ಫಲವತ್ತಾಗಿ ಇಟ್ಕೋಬೋದು, ಅದು ಜೀವಂತವಾಗಿ ಇಟ್ಕೋಬೋದು. ಮಣ್ಣು ಅನ್ನೋದು ನಮ್ಮ ಒಂದು ಸೊತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ನಮಗೆ ಹಿಂದಿನ ತಲೆಮಾರೆಯ ಹಿಂದಿನ ತಲೆಮಾರುಗಳಿಂದ ನಮಗೆ ಬಂದಿದೆ. ಇದು ನಾವು ಇದೇ ರೀತಿ ಮುಂದಿನ ತಲೆಮಾರುಗಳಿಗೆ ನಾವು ಜೀವಂತವಾದ ಮಣ್ಣು ಕೊಡಬೇಕು. ಇದು ಬಹಳ ಬೇಸಿಕ್ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸಿಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಒಂದು ಜನ್ರೇಷನ್ಗೆ. ಇದರಿಂದ ಈಗ ಏನಾಗಿದೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದು ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ಮಿನಿಮಮ್ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಕ್ ಕಾಂಟೆಂಟ್ 3% ಇರಬೇಕು ಅಂತ UN ಏಜೆನ್ಸೀಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದು ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ಇದು ಇಲ್ಲ. ಯುರೋಪ್ನಲ್ಲಿ, ನಾರ್ದರ್ನ್ ಯುರೋಪ್ನಲ್ಲಿ 1.48% ಇದೆ, ಇದೇ ಹೈಯೆಸ್ಟು. ಸದರ್ನ್ ಯುರೋಪಲ್ಲಿ 1.1% ಇದೆ. ಯುನೈಟೆಡ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ 1.25% ಇದೆ. ಆಫ್ರಿಕಾದಲ್ಲಿ 0.3% ಇದೆ ಫುಲ್ ಕಾಂಟಿನೆಂಟ್ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ 0.68% ಇದೆ. 1% ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಬಂದರೆ ಇದು ಡೆಸರ್ಟಿಫಿಕೇಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದು ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗಲೇ ಆರಂಭಿಸ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ. ಈಗ ನಮಗೆ 130 ಕೋಟಿ ಜನ ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಜನಸಂಖ್ಯೆ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ನಾವು ನಮ್ಮ ಮಣ್ಣಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಜೀವ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಇರೋ ಥರ ನಾವು ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ರೆ ನಾಳೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು 25-30 ವರ್ಷದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ನಮಗೆ ತೊಂದರೆ ಇದೆ. ಇದು ನಮಗೆ ಮರವು ಭಾಳ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗೋಯ್ತು. ಏನಂದರೆ ನಮಗೊಂದು 80 ವರ್ಷದ ಹಿಂದೆ ಈ ವಾಟ್ಸ್ ಅ ಫ್ಯಾಮಿನ್, ಬರಗಾಲ ಬಂದು ಲಕ್ಷಗಟ್ಟಲೆ ಜನಗಳು ಪ್ರಾಣ ಹೋಗಿದೆ. ಈಗ ಮತ್ತೆ 2035-2040 ಈ ಥರ ಒಂದು ಸಿಚುವೇಶನು ಬರೀ ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಪ್ರಪಂಚದಲ್ಲಿ ಹಲವಾರು ಕಡೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಕಡ್ಡಾಯವಾಗಿ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇದೆ. ನಮಗೆ ವ್ಯವಸಾಯ ಮಾಡೋ ಥರ ಮಣ್ಣು ಈ ಪ್ರಪಂಚದಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೀ 60 ವರ್ಷದವರೆಗೂ ಇದೆ. ಈಗ 50% ಅಷ್ಟು ವ್ಯವಸಾಯದ ಮಣ್ಣು ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಹೋಗಿದೆ, ಟಾಪ್ ಸಾಯಿಲ್ ಹೋಗಿದೆ. ಇದು ಸುಮಾರು 2050 90% ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸೈಂಟಿಸ್ಟ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇದರಿಂದ ನಾವು ಮತ್ತೆ ಜೀವಂತವಾಗಿ ಇರಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಮಣ್ಣಿನಲ್ಲಿ, ಅದರಲ್ಲೂ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಅಗ್ರಿಕಲ್ಚರಲ್ ಸಾಯಿಲಲ್ಲಿ, ನಾವು ವ್ಯವಸಾಯ ಮಾಡುವ ಮಣ್ಣಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಮಿನಿಮಮ್ 3% ನಾವು ತಗೊಂಬರಬೇಕು. ಈ ತಗೊಂಬರಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಇನ್ಸೆಂಟಿವ್ಸ್ ಬೇಕು. ಫಾರ್ಮರ್ಸ್ಗೆ, ನಮ್ಮ ರೈತರಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ಇನ್ಸೆಂಟಿವ್ ಬೇಕು. ಈ ಇನ್ಸೆಂಟಿವ್ ಬೇಸ್ಡ್ ಪಾಲಿಸಿ ನಾವು ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಇದು ಸರ್ಕಾರಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಲ್ಲೂ ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಸರ್ಕಾರಗಳಿಗೂ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಇಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಕನ್ನಡ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡ್ತು, ನೀವೇನು ಇನ್ನೂ ಕೇಳ್ತಿರಲ್ಲ. ನಾಳೆ ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಗಳು ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಮತ್ತು ಹಲವಾರು ಮಂತ್ರಿಗಳು ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇದು ಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಜನರು ಈಗ ಇಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ನಾನು ಆಗಲೇ ಹೇಳ್ದಾಗೆ 3.2 ಬಿಲಿಯನ್ ಜನಗಳು ಪಾರ್ಟಿಸಿಪೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ. ಈಗ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಲ್ಲಿ ಬರಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದರೂ ರಸ್ತೆಯಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ತಡೆ ಹಾಕ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ಒಂದು ಈವೆಂಟು ಪ್ಯಾಲೇಸ್ ಗ್ರೌಂಡ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಈವೆಂಟ್ ನಡೀತಾ ಇದೆ. ನಾಳೆ ನಾವು ಈ MOU ಸೈನಿಂಗ್ ಒಂದು ಸೆರೆಮನಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಗಳು ಪಾರ್ಟಿಸಿಪೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಹಾಂ, ಮೋಟರ್ ಸೈಕಲ್ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಹಾಕ್ಕೋಬೇಕಲ್ಲ, ಏನು ಮಾಡೋದು.
ಹಲವಾರು ಸರ್ಕಾರಗಳು ಬಂದು ಹೋಗಿದೆ, ಅವ್ರಿಗೂ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ ಅನ್ನ ತಿಂತಿರೋದು ಮಣ್ಣಿಂದಾನೆ ಅಂತ. ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಯಾಕೆ ಕಾಪಾಡ್ಕೊಳಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ? ಸದ್ಗುರು ಬರಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತ?
ಇದು ನಾನು ಅದೇ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಿದೆ. ಈಗ ಒಂದು 2-3 ವರ್ಷದಿಂದ ನಾನು ಹಲವಾರು ಅಗ್ರಿಕಲ್ಚರ್ ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟ್ರೀಸು, ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತ್ರ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಡೆ ನಾನು ಮೀಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ. ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋದರೂ ಅಲ್ಲಿರೋ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿರೋರಿಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಏನು ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತು, ಜನರಲಾಗಿ ಸೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಏನು ಅಂತ ಕೂಡ ಗೊತ್ತು. ಆದರೆ ಅವರು ಈ ಬೆಕ್ಕಿಗೆ ಗಂಟೆ ಕಟ್ಟಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ ಯಾರೋ ಒಬ್ಬರು ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ, ಅವರು ಮುಟ್ಟಾಳ ಬೇಕು. ಅದು ಏನು ಮಾಡೋದು? ಯು ನೀಡ್ ಅ ಇಡಿಯಟ್ ಟು ಬೆಲ್ ದ ಕ್ಯಾಟ್. ನಮ್ಮ ಗ್ರಾಮಗಳಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಹೀಗೆ ಏನಾದರೂ ಒಂದು ಅಪಾಯವಾದ ಕೆಲಸ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಯಾರು ಗ್ರಾಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಮುಟ್ಟಾಳ ಇರ್ತಾನೋ ಅವನು ಹೇಳಿ ನೀ ಮಾಡೋ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಅವನು ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲದೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾನೆ ಇವನು. ಹಾಗೆ ಏನು ಮಾಡೋದು?
ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಿನಿಂದ ಮಂಗಳೂರುವರೆಗೆ ಬೀದರ್ನಿಂದ ಚಾಮರಾಜನಗರದವರೆಗೆ.
ನಿಮ್ಮ ಸುದ್ದಿ ನಿಮ್ಮದೇ ಭಾಷೆಯಲ್ಲಿ. ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ತಕ್.